Hey there, Empowered Peeps. I'm Ryan to the rescue. Happy New Year! Do you know what would be better than setting a New Year's goal or resolution? Finding out what God's purpose and plan is for us in 2023. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through 3 easy steps to find out what God is calling you to do in 2023 and how to walk that purpose out. So let's get straight to it. Step number 1, ask God what His purpose or goals or mission is for you in 2023. And if that kind of concept or terminology seems kind of weird or foreign to you, let me break it down into a less intimidating way. So regardless what you feel your current relationship with God is, I suggest you just spend some time in prayer and just ask Him, Lord, what do you see me doing? Or what do you want me to do? Or what kind of purposes or goals or missions do you have for me in 2023? And then just spend some time listening over the next few days. And what I like to do is read in the Bible or listen to some worship music, and then just continue to pray and ask Him the question that I'm wanting to know. And then He speaks to me at some really interesting times. And I'll share it with you because maybe He'll do that with you too. Sometimes when I'm kind of in between awake and asleep, I'm kind of in that twilight zone, that's where He speaks to me really clearly. And I try to always remember to wake up when I'm alert enough, and I'll grab my phone and I'll put notes in my phone because I don't want to forget what God said. Another time that He speaks to me is in the shower, believe it or not. So just have your ears peeled and be listening, because you might be peeling some potatoes or you might be vacuuming or something like that, and that's when God speaks to you. So just keep your heart open and your ears open, and you just never know when He'll whisper in your ear what His plans are for you. And I have a verse that goes with each of the 3 steps that I'm going to share with you today. And the first one is Jeremiah 33:3, and it says, "Ask me, and I will tell you remarkable secrets about things to come that you do not know." So right in God's word, He says to ask me about stuff, and ask me about your future, and ask me about things that you don't know. So that's what I'm encouraging you and me to do, is ask Him, what do you have for me next year? And when I hear God whisper a phrase or a word or a sentence or something like that into my mind, I always ask Him, God, I think I heard you say this. Did you really say that? And if you really said that to me, would you confirm it through another way? And He almost always does. So let me give you an example. I asked Him, what is my word, or what is my mission? What do you have for me in 2023? And I prayed and I listened for a few days, and I just felt the word grow. I just kind of felt it in my heart. I can't totally explain it if I hear it in my ears or in my heart or my spirit or my gut or whatever, but I just kind of hear it and feel it somewhere. And I heard the word grow. So I asked God, Lord, are you telling me grow is my word and my mission and my marching orders for 2023? Or is that something that I just dreamed up on my own? And if you want the word grow to be my theme word for 2023, will you please confirm it one way or another? And He always does. I keep my eyes and ears open, and sometimes I'll hear that word in a song, or a friend will just say it to me super randomly, or I'll be walking through a store or something like that, and I'll see a seed packet that says, grow your own sprouts, or something like that. But I just see the word over and over. And when that happens, I know that God is confirming that to me. So let me tell you how God confirmed that to me in my life this time. And I'm just sharing these examples with you so that you can get a feel how this dialogue with the Lord works and how He confirms what He speaks to us. So after He told me the word grow, He reminded me of a verse that really touched my heart a few weeks ago. And it made an impression on me. I even highlighted it in my Bible. And in the Bible, it's talking about Israel, but in this kind of situation, I applied it to my life. And the verse says, "But the stump will be a holy seed that will grow again. And that's Isaiah 6:13. And since it had the word grow in it, it really stood out to me. And then he reminded me of a quote that really touched my heart that I saw a few months ago on Facebook. And it says, sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried to die, but you've been buried to grow. So after he spoke the word grow into my heart, and then he pointed out two other ways that it had already touched my life, but he brought that back to my memory, I thought, okay, God, we're going to grow in 2023. I'm excited about it. And then I went to my church and they passed out a devotion book for this year to everybody in the church. And this is what it's called. Sprout. That's pretty much the same thing as grow. Isn't that awesome? Let me take a moment to say a very important disclaimer. If you're trying to hear the voice of God and you end up thinking dark, unhelpful thoughts, let me assure you that is not God. God loves you very much, and He has great and wonderful plans for your future. And He's only going to speak things to you that are hopeful and helpful and loving and kind. So when you do hear a positive, uplifting word from the Lord and you ask Him to confirm it, and He does, then what do? Like in my case with the word grow. I don't know what that means, but I guess God will reveal it to me over the course of the year. It could mean a lot of things. Grow in my interpersonal skills, my character, my time management, perhaps my physical fitness, or my walk with the Lord, or my finances, or my YouTube channel. Please, God. So what does He mean by the word grow in my life? I don't know, but I'm going to have my heart wide open and my ears tuned into Him so that I'll be ready and willing to grow in any and all of the areas that He has for me. Okay, so once you've heard your word from the Lord, let's move on to step number 2. Write it down. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision down so that it is plain and you can run with it. Now that's kind of a paraphrase, but you get the gist. Have you ever heard of making a vision board? This is my vision board that I made for last year. Last year was the first beginning of a year without my husband because he died in 2021. So the goals that God had set out for me last year had to do with loving my daughters and providing them a steady, joyful, peaceful home, and then also being ready and willing to serve Him in ministry at any moment. And I also felt God directing me to grieve the loss of my husband with intention. So I did those things last year as God instructed. And last year was marked with grieving. And I'm kind of happy to hear that this year is going to be marked with growing. So however you choose to write down your word, I encourage you to do it. So whether that be making a beautiful vision board or writing your word down on a note card and sticking it up on your mirror, that works too. Just any way you choose to keep it right before your eyes so that you can always remember and always stay tuned in to what God called you to do. Okay, on to step 3. And that is decide to believe it. And I said the word decide on purpose because sometimes when God speaks a word into your life, it might feel too good to be true. But please trust me, God does have great plans for you. In another one of my videos called Building a Better Future, you can click the link here if you want to see it. In that video, I talk about how sometimes you just have to force your mind or decide in your heart that you are going to believe good things for your future. And when you do, it starts this snowball effect of those good things falling into place. So a couple of verses that I have for step 3 are, faith shows the reality of the things hoped for, and it's the evidence of things unseen. And that's Hebrews 11:1. So that verse encourages us to have faith in the things that we cannot see yet. Another really good one is, God gives life to the dead, and He calls into existence things that do not exist. And that's Romans 4:17. So if God is our role model, then we need to call into existence things that don't exist as well. A tool that will help you believe and receive and hang on to that word that God is giving you is look up other Bible verses that kind of line up with that. And you can write those down as well, either on your mirror or your vision board, or keep them in your car, and they will continue to provide added layers of faith to this word that God has given you. I'll give you an example in my case. As I mentioned, last year was a year of grieving, and this year is a year of growth. And so that, along with the fact that I kind of lumped growing and trees together because I really love the symbolism of trees in the Bible, because God talks about them being strong and resilient and producing fruit even when there's bad weather and famine, and trees are righteous. And so when I put all of those thoughts together, this passage really encapsulated it all. And so I want to read it for you now. It says, God will comfort and provide for all those who grieve and mourn. God will give them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, a joyous blessing instead of mourning, festive praise instead of despair. They will be called great oaks of righteousness that the Lord has planted for his own glory. They will rebuild the ruins and restore the devastated places. Instead of shame and dishonor, you will enjoy a double share of honor. You will possess a double portion of prosperity in your land, and everlasting joy will be yours. So that's one thing that I'm hanging on to. I feel like that goes along with growth and trees and the changing of the character of my year from last year to this year. So I just want to share that example with you of how you can look up different verses that tie in with the word that God gave you. I have other verses and poems that I want to share with you, but I'm going to keep this video short, and I'm going to put all of those in the description below, along with the verses that I've already shared with you. I hope that after watching this video, you will take the time to ask God what his plans are for you this year, and then write it down, and then believe it. And I truly pray that you hear God's voice and his unique plan for your one precious, beautiful life. If perchance you don't feel like you really heard his voice and you can't figure it out, and if the word grow really kind of touched your spirit and you're like, yeah, that's for me, it is for you, because if it hit your spirit, it was for you. And I want you to just grab onto that word and ask God, what does that mean for you? And it may look completely different than how it applies in my life. Just this morning, Elaine Fisher preached a sermon at Gateway Church, and she said, don't always be praying, God, do this and that and this to me, but be praying, God, do this and that through me. Of course, I'm still going to pray for myself. I ask God to inspire me and empower me and grow me, and he will. But you know what else I do? I pray that God will work through me. So if in any way you have felt encouraged or inspired or empowered by watching me, that is a direct result of God working through me, because he loves you so much. And I am very happy to be partnering with him in touching you. I truly believe that this was God's message for you today, because I already had another video all queued up and ready to post, but he interrupted my plan with this better plan. So I really hope that it blessed you today in preparing for this new year. So back to the word grow. I'm trying to grow my ministry of empowerment to women and my YouTube channel. So it would really bless me if you would click like and subscribe, and also hit that little bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the content that we put out every week. So that's all I have to say today. If you're new to this channel, Ryan to the Rescue, I normally talk about tools and how-to projects. But you know what? Sometimes we got to talk about tools for life, and the project is us. And now we're going to get this year started off right by getting our direction from God. We can do it.